Dating is hard, but online dating's outcome is often awful. Anyone who has ever used a dating app knows you'll at least stumble upon someone weird. In fact, being on a dating app for a long time more than less ensures that, at some point, you will have a really awful date. In these following cases, a horror date. Number 5. Wanna bet? First dates are stressful, even if they go well. The first time seeing a person knows to be awkward as hell. And while we surely have a bad date or two in our lives, some dates take it from bad to terrible. There are plenty of online horror dating stories that will make you want to never use dating apps again. But with today's technology, we can't live with them, can't live without them. However, sometimes things can get really, really bad. Such as in this case. Prepare for some cringe-worthy experience. This girl had to go out with a guy who brought his entire office to their first date because they had an office poll going about how it would go. Can you believe this? As they were sitting at the table in the dining room, she noticed a bunch of people perched around the bar, watching them. The girl who shared this story was working at the Research Center for War and Genocide at the time, and as she said, enough people at the office thought she'd be super depressing, so they made an office pool. How did she find out about this? Well, she made some sort of inappropriate joke, and he followed up his laugh with, "You're about to lose a bunch of people in my office a bunch of money." So she made it about 30 minutes until he started pointing out specific people in the bar and telling her what sort of plans he was going to make with the office for them, some many months in advance. Long story short, she went into the bathroom, called her roommate, and had her come and get her. She added, "Haven't dated online since." This comes from 27-year-old Christine. Poor Christine. Number 4. It seemed fine. You finally get up the guts to swipe right. He seems more than fine. He wants to meet. You go up for dinner. He looks exactly like his Tinder photos. And then he tells you his profession is a serial killer. This was an instance, and if something similar has happened to you, you're not alone. Here's a dating story that will certainly make you feel better. This girl went on a date with a British guy she met on Tinder. He had come to India on a tour, and the girl had just quit her job and was looking for a travel partner. However, on their date, she found out the guy was in India for a sex tour. Yep, you heard that right. As it looks like, that is a thing where they go into a country and try everything with the native people, which includes joining polyamorous couples, threesomes, etc., said the girl. Oh, she also mentioned that he thought she was one of those Indians who look for a foreigner to experiment. Well, that sounds awful. The story comes from Chitra M., a travel blogger from Bengaluru, India. Number 3. Aston Martin versus Camaro. So, this girl met up with a guy at a bar. According to her, it was like pulling teeth to talk with him. She tried to talk about travel. "I don't see why anyone would ever want to leave the United States," she said. Then she tried to talk about running. "I don't know why people run for fun," she said. Eventually, he says something. The guy said he likes cars, so the girl told him about how her brother just bought an Aston Martin. "Aston Martins are shit. I really don't like Camaros." She told him she drove an old Camaro for 9 years. His reply, "You don't know shit about cars." And if this wasn't shocking enough, after this, he started talking about nofap and how he tried that, but it just made him angry. So he followed the strict masturbate once every 3 days course. He said it gave him sizable loads without affecting his mood. How did that date end? As they parted ways, he tried to go in for a handshake. So the girl asked him if he masturbated today. He said yes. She asked if he washed his hands. He hesitated. So the girl simply left his hand in the air. When she went home, he deleted her from Tinder. The story comes from Reddit user Charlotte. Number 2. Cocaine buddies. Online dating has become one of the most common ways to find the perfect one. As years go by, many couples that meet on an online site get married and spend their lives together. However, hiding behind your computer screen with the comfort of your own house seems much better than going to a guy in person and asking for his number. But as we said, many of these dates end in the worst ways possible. Having to stay through an uncomfortable date and awkward talk is just a tiny portion of the method of finding the perfect one. Also, in the end, there's always your friend telling you not every guy or girl is the same. Sadly, online dating seems to bring out the worst in people. People use Photoshop, and more than often, you'll end up shocked by how your potential partner looks on his Tinder photo versus how he looks in real life. So listen to this next online dating story and prepare to be relieved. This actually happened on a second date, and the guy telling this story told the girl has offered to pick him up. When he got into the car, he quickly realized that he had made a huge mistake. She had been drinking all day and was now speeding him through the streets of Charlotte. They arrived in one piece, but not before barreling up an exit ramp in the wrong direction, so they finally got to her friend's apartment. He was then offered a choice of bourbon, beer, or lines of Coke. He was clearly not in the mood for going that far. His date, on the other hand, was, as he stated. Without a word, she went over to the mirror on the coffee table and started chopping up lines with a credit card. He then poured himself a glass of bourbon while she snorted up lines that were rolled up with a dollar bill. As he said, a warning of, "Hey, these are my cocaine friends," may have helped ease him into that situation. Never saw her again. The story comes from an anonymous 30-something male. Number 1. Match.com. Online dating apps are everywhere, and did you know that 9 out of 10 single Americans are online? More people are dating via the internet nowadays, but not every online date has its happy ever after. In fact, some end in, "I hope I never see your face again." Now, last but not least, here's the worst of the worst online dating horror stories. This girl met a guy on Match.com around 2006 or 7 back in New York City. According to her, he was really nice. They went on about 4 or 5 dates once a week. He asked her to go out to dinner. She told him she couldn't go because she didn't get paid until the following week, as she said she was a broke kid, and told him she only had $10 to last her until the next week. He then said it would be his treat and he really wanted to see her. They went to a pizza place and shared a pizza and a glass of wine. The bill came and it just sat there for ages. Eventually, the girl said that they should go. He picked up the bill, looked at it and said, "If we split it, it'll be $15 including the tip." She looked at him all shocked and said, "I told you, I only have $10 until next week." Which he replied, "Cool, give me the $10 and you owe me a drink later." The story comes from Erica Taylor, digital marketer, Cape Town, South Africa. Has anything similar ever happened to you? Share your worst date in the comment section below. If you enjoyed our video, make sure you subscribe to our channel so you never miss any of our videos again. As always, thanks for watching, guys.